Alright, market update time, so let's get straight into it. Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Alright, so last Friday we actually had a decent boom out of the gates. Nice 1.2% on the Dow Jones. We had a 1.6% on the S&P. We had an over 2% on the Russell, which is interesting. It didn't actually bring past the highs of that one, of its previous high here, where the S&P and the Dow Jones did. And looking at the Nasdaq, same thing, making it very close to, say, this resistance through here. But it came out 1.8% as well too. So yay, the bulls are in control. We're going back to new highs. Everything's okay. Don't worry about the economy. You know, keep your money in the stock market. It'll be fine. Not. As I've been saying this last week, that who knows how long this move is going to be. This thing, Nasdaq can keep running up. Like, even look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones can just keep running up, you know, for where it is right now. But the thing is, guys, is that when I'm looking at the longer term projection, like for the short term, guys, we don't know how long this is going to keep extending this move up. I am expecting a turnaround soon. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I am expecting it to happen soon. So the thing is, how you actually trade this is you either do one, you either trade the short term, or you could put on, yeah, the way that I like to trade this, I like to trade the longer term view. So I'll put on a position and say, okay, this is where I expect this market to go over the next 6 months. Do you know what I mean? If I'm trading that sort of style, or as you guys know, I put on trades where I don't care where it goes, go up or down, I just don't care. That's the way I like to trade it. So who knows how long this market's going to keep going up for? I don't believe it's going to be too much longer. And the reason why I say that, if I bring up all my trend lines and moving averages and all that sort of stuff, if I don't believe that we're likely to keep going up too much longer. And here's the reason why. If I look at my weekly chart on the Dow Jones, we are still in this major area of these sort of resistance levels right now. We really are. One thing that I find really interesting, guys, is that we are still in this overall area of major resistance on the Dow Jones. We've been having really nice, strong weekly moves to the high side. Very nice weekly moves to the high side. And we're still in this over area of resistance. That's one. Now, the second thing I want to say is that where we are right now, we're actually at this area of 200 moving average. Now, that doesn't really mean anything. They say the fund managers look at that. That doesn't really mean anything. And we're looking at that. But if you look at this as a whole and you say, okay, cool, what else is happening through here? We also can see that if you had a trend line and you drew and you connected the trend line through the highs, you can actually see that we're getting very close. It might be even up a little bit more from that, but we're getting very close to, or actually being spot on to that trend line, which is once, twice, 3, 4 times coming down. Now again, it may just blast straight up and just keep going up. It may do that. One thing I have found is that when looking at, say, a Fibonacci retracement, is if you look at the weekly chart, one thing that you see with these markets is that the normal Fibonacci retracements sometimes don't come into play. Like you can see this big down move from here. So if you're looking at a traditional Fibonacci level, you would say, oh, okay, cool, here's the 50%, here's the 60%, this is where it's likely to pause. And they say if it breaks above the 60%, well, we can expect new highs. We can see what happened here. It broke above the 62%, it didn't break new highs, went sideways for about a couple of months, and then we went down. So as you can see, that's exactly what we're seeing through here. So when we're looking at the traditional Fibonacci retracements, I still am liking into the whole 50% if it does actually happen, where the market comes down and it retraces 50 to 60% and then rolls over, then that's what I like. That's what I like to see. And it definitely shows a lot of weakness. Now, here's the thing you want to keep an eye out for. And obviously, we're all watching this market right now. We're all saying, okay, is this market going to turn, or is this market going to roll over? No one really knows. I only can go off what this chart is actually telling me. So right now, here's a few things that I'm looking at. Now, looking on the Dow Jones only, I can see last time, as I was saying before, last time we broke above the 62 and we ran up. But we didn't break these highs up here, and then we headed back down. Okay. Now where we're at right now on this last leg down, if I bring the Fibonacci from there to there, what I'm seeing on the overall bigger picture is it's actually still at that area of 62%. So this line right here is the 62% area. So it's in the bigger scheme of things, it's still right there. It's just slightly above it. Now, here's two things you want to look out for. One, if the market does fail here over the next couple of weeks and we do start to head down, that's actually a lot weaker sign than over here. Because remember, this is the area where the market broke above the 62% and then we head back down. But if the market runs up and holds this 62% area and it's breaking just above it right now, and we're still getting this area of resistance, that's where you're likely to start to see some significant downward movement. And again, we need to see what actually happens. We need to watch and see what actually happens. Especially this week, we're likely to definitely get some serious movement this week and moving into next week and so on and so forth. So that's exactly what I see here, is that we're at this area of strong resistance on the weekly chart, on the Dow Jones, and obviously on all the indices as well too. So that is the thing that I'm watching out for. Yes, we can keep going higher. Let me go to the daily chart here. So this is the daily chart. Yes, we can keep going higher. I don't believe this has too much more movement on the upside before we start to get a turn. But again, who knows what's going to happen on the short term? Everyone's waiting for that turn, and we just don't know when that's going to happen. So we're just taking this one day at a time to see what's actually happening through here. We did get a little blast above that, little blast up, as you can see, on the Dow Jones. So there's a few things that I'm looking at for. Now, if I look at things as what we call like the leader, which is like, what's that? That's the transportation average. They say this is the leader, the Dow Jones Transportation Average Index. If you look at that and you look at what's actually happening with the leader, they say this is the big leader because it's obviously transportation is everything, right? If you think about it, let's have a look about what's actually happening here with the leader on the markets. Now, I learned a lot by reading stochastics a long time ago by learning from mentors, and they say when it comes to stochastics. They say that the stochastics is generally telling you a bit of the stochastics can tell you something may not be right in the markets by looking at divergence and stuff like that. Now, again, this may be nothing. This may continue up, but I'm just looking at what is the chart telling me right now and what can I pull from the chart that may be giving us some signs about what's actually happening here. So you can see here, right? You can see how we've been making the higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and you can see this high low here, high low here. You can see the market even ran up and made this little high low here, and the stochastics made this high low here. But look at this here, that higher low there on the price, but this is actually a lower low on the stochastics. So we could be getting ready for a little run to the upside and then a turn around, which will create this divergence. That there will start if we get a little bit more up movement. And then we get a little divergence and we get like some more down movement, that's probably going to likely start to see this thing moving down. So the transportation average is actually showing a lot more weakness now overall than the other indices. So if you look at, I say, the Dow Jones, we're not actually getting that yet, or the S&P. The S&P is very, very close. Actually, the S&P made a slight lower low or little bottom. But the stochastics, sometimes, as I said before, guys, the stochastics can tell you sometimes when there's weakness or strength coming into markets. especially by looking at these markets, because sometimes the stochastics can really give you these swings. But we are getting ready for a pullback. We just don't know when. It may be this week, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But looking at the Russell itself, as you can see, the Russell itself came down below here. So I say even if the Russell does start to head up a little bit more from here, and we start to see this sort of action, and just a little bit more upside through there, this is probably going to come up through there, create a divergence through here, and then we may roll over and come straight back down, because we may see a little bit more upside coming into Monday's action. And obviously, you're looking at the when you're looking at the Nasdaq as well too. When you look at the Nasdaq is also showing at first signs of possible divergence, where the market has actually, we got this high low here, had this high low here, it's actually pulled back to make this lower low, and now we're coming up. So this is actually the first sign of potential divergence. So we may get a little bit more upside through here into this area, but this is giving us the potential divergence, and that is the area. Once we start getting this divergence, and this starts to happen, then we're likely to start seeing this sort of action happening. So that's actually what we're seeing in the markets. Now, I'm not calling for a crash right now. Who knows when the crash is going to happen? It will happen eventually during this year, I believe, but we just don't know when that's going to happen. So guys, what I'm looking for in this chart and what I'm teaching you guys is some things that help me understand and gauge, okay, what's happening with this internal strength of this market. Yes, it's keep going up, and I'm not going to be oblivious to say, okay, this market's going to go down, this market's going to go down, the market's going to go down, all the time. I do believe long term are going to go down, but as we've seen in the market, sometimes this market can just keep going up and up and up. But by reading the strength and by reading the internals of the markets, we're starting to get to that point. So we may spend another week to the upside, maybe just slowly crawling up. We may do that. We just got to wait and see. So that's what I do see there, guys. If you squeeze this up, you're starting to see that there could be a potential setup for a divergence on the Nasdaq. Looking at the Russell, same thing as well too. Now, once again, guys, the interesting thing about the Russell is the Russell hasn't actually made this made us past this point through here, which is very, very interesting, which is all the low cap stocks. If you look at the weekly chart on the Russell too, that weekly chart Russell is still very, very, very weak overall. Long term, as you can see, we're getting close to this. We're getting at this resistance level now. We're at this long term area of resistance. There's box through here and potentially coming through here. So we're definitely not out of the woodworks yet, guys. And this whole picture still to me is very weak, guys. Yes, we still may get a little bit more upside. I seriously don't think we're going to make new highs for the year, and I seriously think that even if we get a couple more days to the upside, as I was saying before, that's going to start showing the divergence is probably going to start showing on the stochastics, which is going to start showing that, hey, we may be getting ready for a little bit more downside to come. And that's exactly what I'm seeing through here. So again, guys, the stochastics can show that there is a bit more strength in the markets coming in. And if you're watching the stochastics, for example, if you're looking at just say the Russell, you can see how the Russell made this lower low through here. Okay, made a lower low. This low here is this. Let me just do this here. You can see how by looking at, let's just make a line here. You can see how this actually made a lower low overall, right? So a lower low overall, and you can see how the stochastics here made a lower low here, and that was that lower low through there. But we went this low here to this low here. As you can see how this made a higher low, and it made this higher low through here, and that was that higher low through there. And once this started to turn around, then we started to get some serious movement to the high side. Do you see that? So that's exactly what I see. I'm not sure what actually happened on the Dow Jones well too. Oh, look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones was definitely screaming major divergence. So divergence does work a lot of the times in the markets, guys. You can see here basically just a slight lower low, or even just a double bottom, slight higher low. But look how high that is on the stochastics there. It turned around and then we shot up through there. So the stochastics can give you guys a bit of a warning signal on the divergence. Same with the S&P as well too, and obviously same with the Nasdaq as well too. So divergences really do work on the stochastics, not all the time, but they do start to show you when topping action is likely to happen. And this is the first sign, guys, of trying to just, again, we all know this market's going to turn around at some point. We know that. But right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share with you the internals of what I'm seeing and the strength of what I'm seeing. in this market, and it may be this week, because Monday we don't have much. Monday we don't have much news announcements coming in, so we may get a little bit more upside. Now it's very interesting that all these patterns are setting up, and we're at these areas of major resistance, and everything I've said in this video. It's very interesting that we're talking about this, and then if I bring up my calendar, calendar for the news announcements for this week, we can actually see that it's really interesting that all these things are potentially setting up, and then suddenly we've got nothing on Monday, but Tuesday is when things start to really heat up. We've got retail sales, we've got business inventories, housing market index, anything to do with housing, and even retail sales is probably going to start to move the market. You've got things like if I do, you've got this one here, plus you've got Treasury International Capital as well too. So yeah, you've got those things as well. But the big one, guys, is the FOMC announcement. That one there, and then we can see here on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be really volatile day. We've got consumer price index, housing starts, which is a big one, and then obviously FOMC meeting announcement through here, and FOMC forecast, and Fed chair press release. So between 2 and 2:30, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, guys, we're likely to start getting some serious movement. It's gonna be really interesting week. And then obviously we go back to jobless claims on Thursday, Philadelphia Fed, and we've got JOLTS. Not exactly sure what that is. What is JOLTS? Let's click on that. What is JOLTS? Job opening and labor turnover survey. Okay, so it's got to do with jobs. All right. So for jobs, guys, that's obviously got a lot to do there. And then obviously consumer sentiment, which is on Friday. So guys, we have a lot of news announcements coming out this week. We're getting into this area where we've been running up for quite some time, and getting into this area, potential divergences, and then everything through there. To me, guys, it looks like it's setting up for obviously for a nice move. I don't believe, this is just my opinion, but I don't believe by looking at these charts that we're going to make new highs for the year. I actually think we're likely to start faltering here over the next couple of weeks, and sometime again, we don't know exactly when that's going to happen, because that's the short-term movement. This thing can keep going up a little bit more, but I think long-term, guys, we're likely to start heading down based on what I'm seeing here on the announcements and what I'm seeing on the chart. So there we go, guys. There's my market update. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Hey, it's John Howell here, and thanks so much for watching my video. You see, I'm putting out daily videos and education on helping you learning the art of successful trading. So click on the subscribe button to keep up to date with every video I do. Also, check out my story video, $250,000 in debt, cancer, overweight, family passing away, lived on the streets, and more, and how I overcome it and now thriving through my life. This is here to motivate you, so click on that image to watch my video. And lastly, if you're struggling with your trading, then you need to see my latest webinar where I'm sharing with you an amazing strategy that allows you to generate an income without getting the direction right. So click on that image on this page to register for my next free webinar. This is John Howell here. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.